Hello and welcome to the True Neutral podcast. This is our first episode, a pilot, as you could say. Who are you people?
I think I'll let you talk first, because I'm a gentleman.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors when I can't see your hand.
Okay, I just put my fist
I pick rock.
I pick paper.
Fuck!
Idiot. Alright, I'm Domo. I'm the best one here.
About you,
Love you.
handsome voice gentleman.
My mom walked in. My name is Donovan, and I'm supposed to be the comic relief.
And I am your host, Monado Mudkip. So obviously this is gonna have a lot of growing pains as we're starting out, but if you just stick along with us, we're gonna hopefully get some topics.
We will be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Alright,
If anything, we'll just cut it out. Just like I cut my parents out of my life. Anyway!
Okay, so the Nintendo Direct today, that didn't, that's been really mixed.
It happened.
It was definitely a thing.
I mean, the first 90% of it was, I had no idea what that one robot game was, and then the WWE game, but I was kind of hyped for the Cadence
You mean
of
the
Hyrule
WWE
DLC.
is a classic. WWE game is a classic. It's gonna be like a 10 out of 10.
Bro, we're gonna buy that game. We're gonna spend as much hours as we have Smash.
What
Like
games,
300
what games
plus.
even can compete?
With the WWE game.
It's gonna be absolutely
Magical.
I don't even have a proper term to describe how great this game is gonna be.
Yeah. So, what's y'all's opinion on the new Cadence of Hyrule DLC?
I didn't play Cadence. I played Cadence of Hyrule once with a friend, but I don't own it. That's why I say I haven't played it.
But now it's getting a physical release, and I'm actually kind of excited for it.
Ooh, physical release. Those are always better.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted it whenever it first was announced, but it kind of felt like it got buried in all the e-shops.
Yeah, it was one of the WiiWare kind of things.
Pretty much.
For me, it's more of power to the fans. I'm not gonna care about it, but good for them.
Something that I found really cool about it was when they started listing off the DLC pack too for all the music. They showed off a lot of good songs by a lot of really cool YouTubers like Family Jewels, which is they were representing a lot of people that are passionate towards the music of the game and the overall experience that people would have with the new DLC with 40 new tracks.
Wow.
That's a lot of shit, and especially for random YouTubers to do, you know.
Yeah.
And they deserve props for doing all that, and for one spin-off game that doesn't really get that much recognition.
I was like, this is like an indie game too. This isn't like a AAA title. That's a lot of songs to me.
I mean, I think Nintendo has their fingers in the pie a little bit, you know, since one of their biggest icons is there, but
yeah, they definitely need to monetize what's there and what isn't. Something that confused me was the DLC characters. Who the hell is Frederick?
I have no idea. Maybe
he looks
maybe it's a Crypt of the Necrodancer character. I haven't played the original.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So
I heard that's a good game though.
The first thing I thought of when I saw him was the Dark King from Link Between Worlds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I don't think that existed though. It might have just been Hilda.
Well, I mean, there was an evil sorcerer. I forget his name.
His name was Yuga.
Yeah. No, in Link Between Link to the Past.
Oh, A Link to the Past?
Isn't that Zubaba?
It was Aghanim, right?
Yeah.
Is that your
I don't remember.
But
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, my favorite Zelda character, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I was looking up Pokemon knockoffs today because I was trying to find this one game. I couldn't find it, but a bunch of these articles kept listing Yu-Gi-Oh, Bakugan, and Digimon, all is like rip-offs of Pokemon. and, I'm looking at these articles like, how?
I know like some diehard like Pokemon fans do consider them rip-offs.
I mean, I remember watching a Alfred video on one of them a while back. It was, I don't remember what it was called. You guys might have watched it too. It was it had that blue boy in the front, and it was like everything is a 2v2, and it was like it had 3D models and everything. I don't remember what it's called though. Fuck man, I'm trying to bring this up in the conversation, but it's a little difficult if I don't know what it is. I might just pull up the YouTube clip now and see what it is.
Okay. While you're pulling that up, let's get to the real meat of
meat and potatoes.
Of the direct. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne Remaster. Like,
and 5. Don't forget 5.
Well, that was a little later.
Let's say if we're gonna bring up Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, you gotta bring up 5 too.
Yeah, well, to be completely fair, whenever I saw the Shin Megami Tensei 5 logo, I didn't think they were showing us anything after that.
I mean, from the last trailer we got, I was expecting like some really like vague footage, and then that's the end again.
But no, we got some new demon or angel just coming down saying, "Your god is no more."
We got SMP fans got spoiled today. We get like a full course dinner with a good dessert on the side.
And everybody's salty about it because it's just a niche genre. You know?
I mean, I'm glad that it's coming to Switch because that means more people can play.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that like Persona fans will be into it because listen, I started off as like a Persona fan. I was like, oh, SMT, that's like the main series it comes from. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
And now I'm a fan of SMT.
I was the exact same way.
And I feel like this could be a good way for people to get into it. Especially since I think SMT3, Nocturne deserves a spotlight with how much of like a classic it is.
Yeah,
or considered a classic, I should
say. Do you think the difficulty will scare people away? Considering like the whole joke of Persona 5 fans haven't actually played the game.
Definitely. Well, what Nocturne's difficulty comes down to, at least for the most part, not including Mott, is that like it comes down to not knowing the enemy. Mott,
okay.
It comes down to not knowing the enemy and what they do. Again, the reason Matador is hard is because you don't know what to do against him.
Yeah.
So a lot of the game comes down to simply not knowing. But then you get, again, we talked about this before this, Mott. He's one of those fights where like you can't even blame yourself if you lose.
It's just one of those.
It's just one of those. I already told Donni. Like,
yeah, you explained this to me earlier, so I can't really. You'll notice that I have, because I can't really include my 2 cents on a game that I haven't played. But from what you told me, it does sound like a pain in the ass to fight. I mean, Persona fans that are normalized by the merciless of Persona 5 and how stupid easy it was are going to be in for a rude awakening if they try joining in thinking it's going to be the same thing.
I know they are putting in, I think I saw it on Twitter, a new difficulty called Merciful.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I saw it on Twitter.
I think I saw a parody article on that. I don't mean to keep ragging on Persona 5 fans, but the parody article was just like, new difficulty added to Shin Megami Tensei 3 that basically just turns off the game and puts on a stream of it.
That's really funny. I mean, speaking about like Persona fans, I've seen a little like some Persona fans complaining, but I was actually surprised by how many I didn't see complaining.
I think a lot of them are just trying to make up for the situation that have been shown recently about. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. The people that purposely take on the title Phantom Thieves on Twitter, and then go to the people that have rightfully allocated and call themselves I don't even want to finish that sentence because it's embarrassing to be a Persona 5 fan.
Like, listen, I don't want to start this like a whole like Persona war. I like Persona 5 a lot, especially Royal. I thought they were great games. I just feel some of the fans are just too into the game. I think it's the best way to say it.
Yeah. So, Donnie, speaking as a Persona 5 fan, what are your initial thoughts on the trailers for the two games? For the two SMT games?
They look fine. I can't really comment on how they would look compared to other games since I wasn't really into them. What the vibe I really got from that was similar to how I felt when Three Houses came out. Like I saw the name, I'm like, oh shit, you know, people that really like this game are gonna be fucking ecstatic. Excuse my language, but you get the point. Like, you know, when I saw Three Houses come out, I kind of lost my crap. A new Fire Emblem game coming out on the Switch. I'd assume it'd be the same thing for them, but like double since you're getting two games in recent times.
And we've been starved as fans.
Yeah,
well,
I remember hearing
at least.
I remember hearing about a lot of jokes like that. Like, you'll never get a SMT5 game, haha.
Well, the main thing with it was like SMT5 was announced, and everyone went crazy. But this wasn't like small updates. There was no updates. This was radio silent.
Well, I mean,
They
they
were
were radio
nothing
silent about like way other games too. Like Metroid Prime 4. After that got scrapped, we've heard nothing since.
But yeah, I feel bad. I definitely feel bad for those fans, but they're gonna have their day eventually, like we had our day.
Well,
to be fair, sorry, go.
Oh, Bayonetta 3, just title card, nothing else.
I think the problem, I think that happens to be a problem with the Switch though, where I think to get Switch markets up, they had to like look at the games that are eventually going to be on here, and I think they announced them way too early.
It's coming out like 2022.
Like, you see what I mean? Like, I think they did that as to get like, look what's going to be on here. You guys should buy the Switch.
Yeah,
and then
but
nothing
I think
out.
that, I feel that hurts the console because you're just gonna leave your fan base like waiting to buy a Switch.
Well, I think their intention was to make them buy it like right then, maybe.
Fair enough.
That wouldn't make any sense though.
No, it would. Like, this would be like, oh look, there's eventually going to be a Metroid Prime game on here. You should definitely buy the console right now. Like, okay, because they didn't say when it was going to come out.
Oh, I guess I see what you mean. Like, they buy the console, then like, oh, game's not out yet. So why don't you play this game while we wait? And then you start spending money on more and more games until you're eventually all of money out of your wallet. So,
and then you're into Nintendo and the Switch. I don't know if that was. I'm not gonna like. I would consider Nintendo to be a very good company. Maybe I wouldn't say wholesome, but like way better than other gaming companies.
Yeah,
but they could have pulled a grimy trick like that.
Nintendo's morals is a weird topic, especially recently, because
yeah, they've been all over the place.
I don't want to feel like I'm a broken record here, but if you guys remember the what I mentioned earlier about the allegations, and it seemed like a lot of people thought they were right after that because they didn't want to support the Smash scene as a whole.
Well, that wasn't the reason that they didn't want to support it.
Well, yeah, but now it's even more so. Like they have even less reason to do so now.
Well,
where they were
already getting into pedophiles.
Well, I mean, it's a recent event at the time of recording.
Yeah.
But I think it's worthy of topic at least, especially to extend time for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like especially in the Smash community, and all of the like precautions that they're putting in place aren't really helping.
I think it isn't helping. Like, I've seen some rules that like minors can't be anywhere near bars, which I think is a very good thing to put there.
Yeah, people have been petitioning to put that up.
Making minors wear wristbands saying they're minors, that's not gonna help anything. That just makes them easier to identify and be. Or you're victim blaming at that point.
But I can understand why they did that. So if someone else sees something happening, they could say, "Wait, that's not right."
Yeah.
I mean, if they're taking the minors somewhere else where there's no one else is going to see them, that's not exactly going to help.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, say something's happening, and they see them taking a minor, and, like, someone else does, and they see the wristband, they can be like, what's happening here? And the minor has a chance to go with that person instead.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
I think a rule that needs to be put in, you know, I would say, even if you're, like, 16, 17, at least have a parent there.
Yeah.
Have a parent at the venue somewhere close to you where they can see you. maybe even in arm's reach. Because a lot of these things that could happen be prevented if there was a responsible adult that you knew was there with you. Especially if you're staying at like a hotel, you need to be staying with an adult that you know.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And either either a parent if you don't trust your parents, a guardian, just someone.
And pretty much immediately after the Smash community got outed, the Fire Emblem
community, yeah.
I mean, they weren't pedophiles, but like that was still some like real.
It was unfortunate.
Deep
I'm sure you guys know of Mangs. Like he was the figure, for lack of a better word, he was the figurehead of the Fire Emblem community. He was probably one of the most popular people streaming the shit. And for him to get outed as a sexual predator is...
Well, it's awful what he did. He was like soliciting pictures for conversation. People just wanted to talk to him, and he'd be like, picture first, you know?
Yeah. I suppose when you say it like that, it isn't exactly a good thing to do. He exploited people when he shouldn't have. He let the fame go to his head, and it's really saddening to hear because he was one of my favorite YouTubers to watch at one point. And the worst part is that he gave off that sort of look, like, okay, this guy's probably up to something.
Yeah,
he looked malicious, and that's a bad thing.
After I heard about the whole Mangs thing, I had no idea who he was. But like as soon as I went to his channel, I hate to like, just look at a person and say, oh yeah, he looks like a. I looked at him and thought he was nothing was good about his like overall appearance. In my opinion, it might have been hindsight bias considering I've read all the stuff he's done and.
That's the thing that was a little inspiring about him, in all honesty. Like, when I used to watch his channel, I was super insecure about my looks. And seeing this big-ass bald guy going on YouTube, talking from, like... Where is he from again? Is he, like, German? I don't remember. I know he has some sort of heritage from, like, Malaysia or something. And he still made it regardless. He's doing well on YouTube. He's doing what he loves. And that's really inspiring. Like, you can look at this guy and think, oh, okay, I can do that too. I'm here. But seeing him getting outed like that, that's definitely a strike to the heart, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
No, I can understand that, because that was me for Zero. I really looked up to Zero. I thought he had a really inspirational story, coming from nothing and then becoming like a world champ. And when the first allegations came out, he was like, he was saying like he was like deflecting all of them, and he had evidence. I was like, I knew Zero wouldn't do that. I knew he wouldn't. And then when more evidence came out, and then showed that he was guilty, and then he admitted it, like, my heart sank. I was so sad. Because Zero did not look like the guy to do that whatsoever. Mangs gave me, like, the vibes of that, but Zero seemed so nice.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show that it can be anyone. And that's what's so scary about it. To dilate the conversation a little and to move on to how it affected games as a whole, since that's what we're talking about. This is something I'm actually passionate about, since I'm into fighting games. You guys already know about how Evo was outed because the DEO was one of the people that received allegations as well. Mm-hmm. And that affected all the games that were on Evo. Like, all the new games that were coming out, like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, that me and Dom love. It's a good game. It had a good community at one point, but once everything became online, it didn't exactly prosper the way it did offline. So, especially with the To be fair, that's the case with most things that like get a wide audience over time. You start to get a few bad apples in the bunch, and then it generally overall ruins the experience.
It's not even just the people as a whole. Like, it's inconvenient to play these games now. Like, fighting games as a whole are very imperative on extremely precise inputs and doing things at specific times to get out of situations that you wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Playing a fighting game with lag and without lag is like two whole different experiences.
Completely different. Yeah, it's a different environment as a whole.
you will have completely different strategies and play styles depending if there's lag or no lag.
You're gonna meet people that embrace the lag, and they're gonna hit you with the things that should be quote unquote reactable, and you have to deal with it, and that's apparently quote unquote your fault. And which is why a lot of people stop playing these games. It's a little difficult to justify doing so when you actually have skill, when you're being outed by people that just kind of hopped on the game, picked the best character in the game, and abused the hell out of the mechanics.
Tier picking. I hate tier picking.
Tier whores.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
They are everywhere. I mean, like, I get like some people who call me hypocrite since I like in Smash is the main. I guess you can consider Smash a fighting game. You know, people like to do the it's a party game.
No, it's a fighting game.
But I consider it a fighting game. I happen to like Shulk and Mega Man as my characters. I did not tier pick them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
but
we're both Xenoblade fans here. We both love Xenoblade.
Well, I picked up Shulk before I got into Xenoblade. I just like to play style.
Oh yeah, me too. That's actually what got me into Xenoblade.
Same thing with me. And then I picked up Mega Man. I was like, I wanted a range character. And I was like, oh yeah, he's cool. And I picked him up. But I know people who do tier pick, and there's no fun with that.
Pretty much all of Melee community.
Melee has its own issues for me. I feel like Melee is so like overhyped, and like I saw this one tweet. It was a really good tweet. It was a Melee glitch where I forgot what happened, but basically the character was on like the far left side of the stage, and then they instantly transported to the right.
Oh yeah,
you're talking about the NES yo-yo glitch, yeah.
You saw that glitch, and I saw that like the tweet. The caption was like, "If this happened in Ultimate, everyone would be like saying how trash Ultimate was, and they should go to Melee." And I was like, "That's exactly true." Like if this happened in Ultimate,
I also love Mark's grab in Melee. Just
like if that stuff happened in Ultimate, people would just go off. But it's Melee, so it's valuable.
That's the thing about Melee. People have embraced the bullshit that comes with it because the entire fighting game scene that people embrace with Melee comes off of the mechanics that they've exploited, like wave dashing, wave canceling, L canceling.
Well, wave dashing isn't an exploit technically.
I think we grow up in a time where like games are constantly updated, but whenever Melee first came out, like that was the finished package. That's all you're gonna get. So they figured out how to work with it. But if you try to figure out the exploits in current Smash, then you just have it replaced in a week.
Well, technically not, because Melee had a slightly updated version in the PAL, where they nerfed and buffed a couple of characters. But I see your point. I'll leave it at that.
But I still think that's more like it's a bad viewpoint to say. Because there are more Smash games after Melee. Like, Melee was not the last Smash game. I understand why people still played Melee for Brawl and Smash 4 because they were much slower and they did not have the general pace of Melee. But yeah. I feel like Ultimate is the ultimate Smash game. I think it has a really good pace. It's snappy. I like it. And I can understand why people still play Melee, but I just don't like the constant defense of it, I guess to say.
The grand scale. I don't... Like, y'all guys play it as a fighting game. I mean, I'm more of a casual player myself, but just the grand scale of Smash is just sheerly impressive by itself.
You mean like games-wise? Like what's under its belt?
Like, character-wise, there are tons of game modes. Well, not as many game modes as people would like, but it's still a lot. And then...
Well, Smash was impressive for sure.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about Ultimate and Melee. Before the whole Kung Flu came out, Melee was the game that people wanted to play offline and actually had a really crappy one that if you wanted to play online. There's a thing called Anther's Ladder where you had to find ranked matches with people in order to get any sort of games, and it was a really convoluted system in order to set up a room to do it. And in Ultimate, you could just kind of play online however bad it was. But now that we have a ramped up version of that net play, and there's a rollback for those of you that don't know, rollback is like the better version of net play because your moves come out before lag happens. Like they don't account for the lag, so you can like transfer the data from one place to another. So as opposed to that, the the action comes out on the screen first, which ultimately gets rid of input lag as a whole, which is far better than what we deal with as now. Barely any fighting games have that, and Melee is one of the few that do. So
the online Melee service, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Ultimate doesn't have that, which is why people hate the online scene as a whole is dying. Yeah, but Melee is growing because the online scene is way better. It's like you're actually playing the game. It's barely any different than offline because there's barely any input lag.
Well, that was another mistake. Like, Nintendo has had a history of mistakes, but that's another mistake on Nintendo's part. Just, like, they didn't give Super Smash Bros. Dedicated servers, especially considering the fan base that it has. And
yeah.
And the online code that paid like $20.
Yeah.
I don't think this is gonna kill Smash by like any means.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Once this all ends, Smash is like Ultimate's gonna be back on like the front. Like it's gonna be like the main show.
I mean, as of now, Melee is the front.
Well, I think as of now, it's due to the circumstance. I think once everything's back and running,
which won't be for a while.
Yeah,
won't be for running. That's true. I mean, that's true as well.
Like, people used to joke about the net play scene. That's literally all we have right now.
I mean, I'm a little bit of a hot take, but I've been playing Ultimate since this came out, and online's been pretty good for me. Like, of course,
that's because you haven't experienced actual fighting games.
That's true, but we're talking about Smash right now and Smash Ultimate. I will say I haven't experienced Ultimate like others, but for Ultimate, my lag hasn't been that bad.
Look, Dom, I'm just saying, if you ever find the time, go on Granblue by yourself and find someone with a decent connection. It's going to feel as if that person is right next to you on the couch. Then you're going to start playing Smash and realize that there's always this innate input lag on top of the net play stages and whatnot, which makes it really bad.
Like, I've become used to it almost.
Yeah.
Which is fully possible. I could be used to like the small amounts of lag.
Mm-hmm. Like, there was a study done on Ultimate saying that it has the highest input lag natively. Like, no matter what setup you have, you're always going to have this amount of input lag based on the controller you use, the TV you set up. It doesn't matter. You're always going to have this much. And it's like the highest in the entire series, which is really bad because this is supposed to be a competitive game. And when you can't react to things properly, you're going to get fucked.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I'll leave it at that. We can't really comment on that since I know everyone here is a fighting games fan like I am. Like, I kind of dedicate a lot of my time to this nowadays. So I guess we could go back to like, what else was on the Direct again? We can talk about the WWE game.
What was that robot game?
I didn't even. Like,
I
is it like Mbon?
Sorry.
I mean, I wasn't paying attention to like anything until I got to SMT. My brain was just on like on charge. I was like, yeah, okay, random game. And then when I saw the Nocturne, I got like, really into it. We haven't talked about 5 though. If we want to discuss SMT 5.
Yeah, how you two feeling on that?
I thought, okay, first off, the MC's design is whack. Like his hair.
Well, we don't even know if it's a hand, to be completely honest.
Like every SMT pro tag has been a guy. I'm gonna assume based off the events that have happened that it's a guy.
Fair enough.
I mean,
either way, Wait, what were you saying?
No, sorry, go ahead.
I'll use gender neutral term. Their haircut's really whack.
Yeah. I
think the premise is interesting. It gives me, again, Nocturne vibes where you have to like create the new world.
Well, it gives like based on the world that we saw, like the whole sand thing, that gives me SMT4 vibes, like with the whole with the
like a blasted Earth.
Yeah, the blasted Tokyo and all that.
I mean, like, it could be that. I'm wondering if it's a scenario where, like, for those who don't play SMT, usually in each SMT game, there's usually, like, an avatar of, like, a greater power called, like, the Great Will, I believe. In each game, you usually have to fight that avatar. So, in 3, it's Kagatsuchi. And I'm wondering in SMT5 if that avatar has already been defeated.
Interesting take.
Because they say in the beginning of the game, like your god's already dead, and I'm like, so does that mean the Avatar's dead, or is that some kind of other thing? And we do see Lucifer, so I don't know if that means he won.
Yeah, but again, like in SMT4, whenever the demons ran rampant, God just struck them all down. Or YHVH.
Yahweh.
Yahweh, yeah. So.
Well, was it the Great Will or was it Yahweh? You know what I'm talking about, like the Great Will, right?
Yeah. Well, no.
Either way,
the Great Will was protecting Tokyo in that game.
I haven't played 4, so I don't know the full story.
Yeah. So,
it's interesting. I think the trailer looks good. I like the new demon design though. The one we saw, the imp thing.
Yeah, it's really hard to describe. I don't know what it's gonna be.
I'm guessing it's gonna be like a pixie, not like a pixie, but like in the scenarios pixie where it's like a starter demon.
Yeah.
We saw them in the first trailer for the game,
well,
so I'm guessing early on.
While you're here, Donni, save your pixie, and you know how we told you earlier to just get rid of as many demons as you can?
Right.
Yeah, save that first pixie you get.
Why?
Oh, can we tell him?
Nah, let's save it. Let's save him
No,
surprise.
No, I want to tell him. He's probably gonna forget.
Okay.
So, in the game in Nocturne, so the first demon you get, I believe, is a pixie, right?
Right.
And now, in any other game, you'd think, well, in any other SMP, you'd think, okay, I'm just gonna fuse this away, be done with it. Did they do that with you in Persona? They make you fuse Arsene off the bat.
Yeah, they make you fuse Arsene.
But you can keep the pixie, and I think late game, your pixie will become a mega pixie, and it gets like full stance, like Megadolion. Then it gets all kinds of good skills. It's like a fully maxed.
Do you have to keep it in your party?
No, I think you just need it you might need it in your party, or you might need it in the compendium. I don't remember.
Well, if it's in the compendium, then you don't need to keep it.
No, you need to keep it. You need to keep it in your party throughout the game.
Alright. Well, but you have enough slots to keep it. You have like 8 slots off of that, I think.
Yeah, which should be plenty.
Either way, it's pretty easy. You can even evolve it to High Pixie, and you'll still get like the, what do they call it? The Uber Pixie? Do I remember?
I don't remember. I haven't actually played the game myself. I just know of it.
There's a fan name for it, which I believe to be the Uber Pixie.
Uber Pixie.
Uber Pixie. I could be wrong, but I think that's from what I remember. So
that is a comical name.
I guess back to the directions when we started talking about. I mean, that was our last topic. I think for a lot of people that did not like SMT, this was a very disappointing direct, because I think people got their hopes really high for this when I don't think they should have.
I mean, but to be fair, Nintendo said this is for third-party developers on games we've already announced, and Nintendo fans can't read.
Like, I'm a Nintendo fan, and I did not come in with high expectations. If you look let me get like the dislike ratio of the video, because it was really low.
I think it's half.
I mean, it was really high. Sorry, is it half? That's still like really high though. And let me get the exact amount. It's 66,000 dislikes compared to 84,000 likes, and that's what I'm saying. People were expecting like really big stuff out of this. I came here. Like, my only thought for this was I want SMT5 news, which I got and I'm happy about. But I think people came in here with like super high expectations when I don't think they should have. I saw some people on Twitter expecting like a Smash character, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Well,
that's not
it's
happening.
Like the treehouse reveal. Like, they said, oh, it's gonna just be a small game. And everybody's just like, I forgot what... was it the same developer who made Shantae? But they thought that it was going to be this great, huge game, but it just turned out to be a Bakugan game.
I think Nintendo fans have a problem with thinking that every announcement's going to be big.
Meanwhile, Atlas fans just, an announcement for an announcement. Very nice, thanks.
I mean, it's just, I think, I get saying this as a Nintendo fan, that a lot of Nintendo fans are ungrateful.
Yeah.
Like, we knew what was happening, and then, like, and a lot of people wanted all this stuff, and they were mad that they didn't get all the stuff they wanted. And I can understand it in this kind of, like, drought year, but I can't blame Nintendo completely. They did tell us what was happening.
And I'm pretty sure there are more coming down the way, considering the way that they said, like, this is one part of our developer showcase.
Again, I don't think this year is going to have a lot of games. I think they're probably going to show off some more next year games at, like, more like a holiday.
Are you saying Xenoblade isn't enough?
Listen, Xenoblade is enough for me, but it's not enough for non-Xenoblade fans, because even though Xenoblade's becoming more mainstream, I would still say it's pretty niche in the overall Nintendo spectrum.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of people, it didn't cut it for them. And I can see where it's coming from. I mean, Animal Crossing was big, but, like, when you think of Nintendo, like, they usually have, a lot of good games, like, all the time.
Yeah, but also to be fair, I think Animal Crossing was released at the wrong time, considering the virus, because Animal Crossing is supposed to be played for, like, short spurts during the day, but if you give all of these people, like, hours upon hours just to perfect it, they're gonna get bored of it real quickly.
I got bored of it pretty quickly. I put, like, 40 hours in, and I haven't touched it since.
Because it's not meant to be played that way.
I do wonder what Nintendo's, like, release schedule was like without the virus, because I'm betting the virus has messed up some stuff.
Well, they've said that it wasn't supposed to change at all, so... Donnie, do you have anything to weigh in on this?
Not in particularly. I've stayed quiet since I don't really have an opinion on the entire situation, aside from, like, trying to understand the demographic that they're trying to appeal to. You have to understand that Nintendo itself is appealing to younger people, like, for lack of a better term. Like, everyone here that plays on a Switch console is more likely than not going to be a child under the age of 15. And they're attempting to appeal to the kids that want new games on their Switch while this whole pandemic is going on. And that's probably keeping them from having any fun, where I can't really speak for every individual cases, but that's most likely going to be the mass majority.
I don't completely agree on that. I think Switch, if you've seen the marketing, I think Switch has been definitely showed to, like, an all audience, but not just kids. Mm-hmm. If SMT is anything to show, which is a very adult game.
Yeah, 2 SMT games are coming to the Switch.
So I would not say... I think the Switch is for everybody, so I would not say just kids.
They put Witcher, Doom... Those are both really adult games.
Like adult games.
Wolfenstein, they're putting Borderlands on there.
Well, I mean, the Wii U had a bunch of mature games. We had a bunch of Call of Duties. You could play iZombie.
But those didn't work for Nintendo at that point. And then they immediately, like, oh, this isn't working, so we're gonna go to a more kid-friendly front.
That's exactly my point. Like,
no, but I'm saying that's not happening now. I think that was for the Wii U. Now this is... A lot of adults own this, and I would even say for big franchises like Zelda or Mario, a lot of adults play those too.
Playing them and being a part of the audience that it's supposed to appeal to are two different things.
But what I'm saying is that the audience they're trying to appeal to is also those older fans.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild was a complete breath of fresh air into the series. Like, and it appealed to younger fans and older fans.
What I'm saying is that, like, the younger fan, like, I agree that a lot of, like, you know, young kids own the console. Obviously, like, we're young, we own it. But I would also say I think Nintendo knows it has an adult fan base with it.
Well, I've never seen as many people with Nintendo Switches as I've, like, seen other people with, like, Xbox or PS systems. And I think that has really helped its marketing, because just you being able to carry it anywhere and it being a home console, I think the gimmick really helped push it to a more casual audience, but also really helped them get into a more gaming sphere. I hate that word.
It supports multiple lifestyles. Because when you think about it,
gaming spirit.
I said sphere.
That's even better.
what I was gonna say is I think the Switch supports really any lifestyle when you think about it. Because thinking about it, like mostly when you're an adult, you're not gonna have a lot of time to play games. You're gonna be at work. You're probably gonna be tired. You got things to take care of. I think Switch supports that kind of lifestyle where you can take it anywhere. Say on your break and you want to play a game, you know, you can boot up your Switch, which I think makes it a lot more accessible for like older audiences than like the Xbox or the PS4.
Oh yeah,
I can see it.
That
I
makes
can
sense.
Yeah, but
Like-
handhelds have been around for years. I don't know what has
Well,
stopped. But to be fair,
Which is a little bit
handhelds
different,
have been like thrown more niche titles, like the Sony the PSP was just like a JRPG machine, and that I think that was why it didn't have a mass appeal, other than that whole weird marketing campaign that they did alongside the PS3. Oof.
I mean, I think the thing with the Switch is what makes it so great is that it's basically the next Nintendo home console. It's not just like what you would consider like the 3DS, where it's like it's a handheld. This is the next step for Nintendo. This is like the next big thing. This is the most powerful Nintendo console, and for like a handheld, it does really good in my opinion.
It does amazing. It can run. Well, I mean, you say for a handheld, but like I completely agree with you. To run The Witcher 3, which is a huge game and just full of a bunch of stuff, and for it to run at a semi-decent quality, that's a testament to how powerful that small console is.
Well, I mean, they definitely had to downscale it by a large amount.
For you to play it on the console is a testament to the console itself.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I can stay with that opinion. I don't really have anything to add to that, so I'll disagree with you.
Cool.
I think
with that we can end it there.
Yeah,
this is a good place to Steve. Yeah. With that, I think we can end the stream here. Thank you all for participating with us, debating how this fighting games community and the releases of the Nintendo Direct as a whole have affected everyone. I realize it's a little soon to say anything, but as a whole, I realize this is going to be for the better. And the more games that we see, the more we're going to be happy, regardless of the fan base. So I hope you all enjoyed listening to the 45 minutes or so, and thank you for tuning in.
All right. This has been the True Neutral Podcast, and we're off.